Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. As I promised, we would have MJ back, and she's back. Tonight, co-hosting with me is Kathy Medeiros and Ken Demers. And this is MJ, Guadalupe, healer and medium. If you missed our last show, and she works with numerous types of issues that people have. PTSD, Alzheimer's, comas.
Grief.
Mostly grief, because that's what most of the clients come.
Mm-hmm.
And you do energy work along with that.
Yes.
And some medical empath with it too.
Yes. Everything I do, I want to say, is based with love. And it's not, to me, everything is love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about showing people to show the compassion to themselves and getting them back to what I consider their divine blueprint. We're all born pure and here for a reason, and it's bringing them back, going back to that divine blueprint, and giving them the tools they need,
mm-hmm.
and the guidance they need to find that.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what I do, is I give people the tools and the guidance to help themselves.
Right, and you're able to not imprint on them what your goals would be, but, you know, a lot of traditional healers, you know, the doctors and whatever, they all want you to have certain goals, and that might not be your goals. Your goal might be to have the best quality of life rather than the longest life.
Correct.
You know, and when you do healing, you can't impose your values on anybody. You have to accept everybody as they are, and the more accepting you can be, the better healer you can be.
Well, the more love I can show them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like at the nursing homes and certain places I've worked, when I do the Reiki, I've done end-of-life care. That's going to be, it's non-denominational.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what I believe, what I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about making them comfortable and at peace and respecting that person's decision. It's also working with their families,
Yeah.
to making sure they're comfortable with that person's decision, because a lot of times the person is, but their family isn't.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I've done in the past that I work with now, that I'm trying to just branch out. And I would really like to see holistic medicine branch out into more, not that it's not already there, but I would really like to see it more in hospitals and in nursing homes. I'd like to see more consciousness in schools for their kids.
Yeah. Because it's a complement. It's not an alternative. It's not instead of. It's a complement.
They don't have an understanding of how it works.
But they need somebody to stand up and start.
Well, you can't see meridians and chakras, but you can feel them if you attune to them.
My personal experience, right? I had fixed my doctor. He had a gout, right? So we made that problem go away. So I'm sitting in his office again, years later, and he's got a problem with his knees. So I said, "Oh, you want him to work on it?" Because we're pretty friendly. You know, we chat about a lot of different things. So I put my hands on his knees, and I had a short-sleeve shirt on. And after a minute or so, he's feeling my arms and he's feeling my hands. I'm saying, he says, "Your hands are hot, but your arms are cold." And he couldn't even begin to understand how it worked. So if it works for him, he knows it works for him, because when he got up, he could walk with his sore knee. But if he can't even understand how it works for him, he can't incorporate it to other patients.
Now, I'll go into your field, electricity. Most people don't know how electricity really works.
Well, neither do the electricians.
And most
Neither do the healers.
Well, it's the same with healing. You just have to get out of the way and allow it to flow through you in whatever form
Yeah.
you choose.
I got a personal joke to myself. These scientists are looking for the God energy. They say, well, we know there's an energy out there. I want to get them and wave my hand over his and say, here's your God energy.
It's within all of us.
Or tell them they are the God energy.
Yeah.
Well,
If they
that's
choose to
beside
be.
the point. Yeah, they are. Everybody is, but
What I find out that the more logical thinkers have a harder time with this. But if you explain to them in a way that they could understand, like, okay, it goes in this order all the time. It doesn't change from that. Each, like say angel healing or mediumship though, it may change differently, but it still goes in follow these same steps all the time, no matter what. What I find out that it makes more sense to them, because this is more emotional stuff than is logical. So, just follow that steps all the time, the same process. It goes through the same process all the time. It just might be different words or, say go east instead of north. I find out that, they have a better understanding of it that way, if it's presented to them that way.
Well, it's individual.
Or if they see it.
Yeah.
I like to do hands-on, like you said, because when they feel it, it's almost like they can't deny it.
Yeah.
And then once they question it, even when we walk away, it's still, how did his hand get that hot? Because you didn't rub it, you didn't do anything, you just placed your hand.
you don't even have to place your I play with
It
people.
can be on the aura. Even.
Yeah.
It can do that.
I will the energy to flow to my hands. And if I just wave my hand over people, they're going to feel a breeze. And, I said,
A
oh,
hot
yeah, you're going
breeze.
to, no, it's cold sometimes. It's not always hot.
Yeah, well, I know.
But,
There are certain illnesses.
so
that
they
need
say,
cold.
well, of course, when you wave your hand over my hand, I'm going to feel a breeze. And then when I do it to them, people have a hard time understanding it.
It's different.
It's very,
And
stick your hand out.
what they need is somebody who's strong-willed.
And how do you perceive that?
I can feel all that energy. It's a cool breeze. Yep.
I'm seeing different colors, like blue and purple, and that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's something you've never talked about in your bag of tricks?
Now you gotta
There's
spill
something,
it.
yeah,
You gotta
something every day. Sometimes I can see colors, with my third eye. It's actually pretty interesting, though. Sometimes I don't even have to see; I just know it's there. That knowing and that sensing. I can always tell if something's going on with somebody. Just sometimes I feel that on my own, or sometimes I just look at them and think, oh, and I just kind of see it around them. So I see a lot of different things.
My daughter does that.
Yeah.
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 How
It's
is it
unique.
raising children that are following in your footsteps?
So my 16-year-old son is doing his own thing. He is a 16-year-old boy.
Which is what? Oh, you mean being a young boy?
He's being a 16-year-old boy in high school, being on sports, accepts what I do, but is not going to be like, huh, what are you doing? My 12-year-old has very strong healing hands, very hot, just comes natural to her. My 5-year-old can see auras, just automatically know. Like she walked up to my husband, she comes to me, she goes, Daddy has purple and green all over his head. And I'm like, purple? She's seeing auras. Or, I mean, she just starts doing stuff, and instead of freaking out, I just, oh, well, Daddy has those colors.
Ask her what it means to her.
And I'll add, exactly. We do, me and Debbie Radcliffe have a class that we teach with children about angels. And
Really?
it's 2 kids. And what we do is we have them come in, and the kids will look at it's like a description of an angel, but there's no color or anything. And we have them do like a really quick, okay, close your eyes, what do you see? And if they'll see the colors of the angels. Not everybody sees them the same way. I totally, that's something I firmly believe. Not everybody might see Raphael as green, not everybody might see, Michael as blue. So I let the kids come up and we let them say, oh, I saw this, and because they're going to come to these children how they will recognize them, how they feel safe.
My young granddaughter, I was teaching her to become a healer. She's 5 years old, or 6 now, I guess. But I started doing it when she was like 4. And what I did was had her, I said, how do I present this to her so that she can understand it? So she buzzes, buzz, and so that she knows that when she's projecting the energy, she buzzes, buzzes, and that way she can kind of visualize doing something. And it's kind of
It's what you got to do for the smaller ones. You got to get really on their level. Those classes, we're not sitting in chairs. We're sitting on bean bags in a circle with coloring books, and we have the crystals in the middle, and we become kids ourselves. So it's really fun. We remember to use our inner child, because kids now, the more open they are, the better chance we have for
what
the
age
future.
are these kids?
We do classes from 3 to 6, and then we do classes from 3 to 7, and we do classes from 8 to 12.
When do you do these, and where do you do these?
At Create-A-Go, at the Soul Purpose. Again, we go to different holistic places. Debbie owns Create-A-Go.
That's in
Bristol, right in the school.
What's the name of it?
Create-A-Go.
I go.
Create-A-Go.
Yep.
Yeah, Create-A-Go.
Okay, strange name.
And it's really fun to see these kids interact. And to me, if we teach our kids not to and feel ashamed of what they see, we're all born with this. It's when you're going to open your present. Society is what squishes us down.
Yep.
So if we can keep these kids open and yet respect our elders enough to learn from them, our society can only get better. So it's using what we have to teach the children and work with our elders to give them the dignity and the pride and the respect that they deserve, so that the middle people can keep on trucking and start learning. I actually took, because I've been in the medical field for so long, I went to this thing in Rhode Island at the hotel. It wasn't a holistic thing. It was for nursing homes and assisted living. And I've been in that field for a very long time, and a lot of people knew my name. I was an activities director. I was on the board in Rhode Island. And I put a big sign up, Mary Jo Guadalupe, Intuitive Medium, and I had all Reiki packets and what it could do for their residents.
And you had all
Packets for Reiki.
Oh, Reiki, okay.
And what Reiki
Packet-
and stuff could do for their residents.
information packages.
And I just kept handing them out, and they were like, MJ, and I'm like, no, somebody needs to teach the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
And why not start with Rhode Island? Here we go. This is what we need. And that was hard. I was like being seen fully as me.
Yeah.
Because when I finally opened up, I was working in a nursing home. Not the best place to start to open up, let me tell you.
No.
Why
it was
not?
interesting.
I would think.
No,
It was interesting.
It
a
can
lot
be
of overload.
emotionally
Yeah, it's
very
overloaded in a nursing
difficult.
home.
It can be very.
I don't think I could do it, but
There's a lot because I'm an empath. Like when I do galleries, the first thing I tell people is I'm known as the crying medium.
you're too emotional.
And I don't think I'm too emotional. I've been called too emotional in the past, and I've been called too sensitive. Now that's my gift. When people can't cry, and I let my tears start to fall, they go, oh my God, it's okay to cry. And they release. And it helps them release that grief. It's kind of like if you're a plumber, and that pipe, and it's getting blocked, it's getting
Now,
blocked. You got to unblock
How about
that
somebody
pipe.
like me who's, I can't say I'm not sensitive because I cry at TV shows, but I make a point of trying not to show my emotions. And does that...
You
what
pay a
you're-
cost for that. There's a cost for doing that.
But what's
Of
It
the
course.
affects your
question?
health.
Could I break you
Well,
on it?
I guess more I'm saying, is it detrimental to me, maybe is what I'm trying to ask. I'm not sure what
To
I was trying
cry?
to...
It's more harmful to you. It's not gonna, like, for instance, my husband is not a crier. He's not somebody who shows his emotions. And I'm forever doing work on him. Because he thinks, I think it's hard for men to be emotional because you were told that's
Am I
not,
allowed like that?
that's not, it's weakness. It's actually a strength. I would say about 60% of my clients are men.
Wow, that many, huh?
I have a
Wow.
lot of men.
I'm surprised at that.
Me too. And it's about them opening up and realizing they can cry, they can hurt. You are allowed to feel. There really isn't no such thing as male, female when you're energetic. You're a soul. And you have feelings and you have emotions, and you should be able to release those.
That's what I want to ask. You were talking before about helping people find their, I don't remember how you put it, their goal in life when they came in as spirit. They had a plan.
Divine blueprint.
Divine blueprint. What percentage of people are even remotely aware of what their divine blueprint is? Because when we come into these bodies, we have free will.
Correct.
And that free will is going to kind of override that subtle or not so subtle.
Correct. The people I work with, even myself, do I know what my own divine blueprint is just yet? Nope.
No.
It's part of my journey.
So
Your journey is to discover it.
Who do we take you to so that they can tell you what it is?
I call it the blockages and the gook. You got to get rid of that to find more of your own purity.
So
We all have to work, even mediums.
So you're saying basically very few people know what their goal is when they came into this lifetime.
Some people will find their soul's purpose and what they're supposed to do, yes.
And there are also partial goals.
Yes.
Things we know that everyone has come here to learn to be more loving and compassionate. That's the very least. And that as a goal is a good goal, even if you don't have any other goals.
Nope. I totally agree. I think
So the blueprint, it's kind of like trying to remember the free will, as you can call it, just trying to remember where we came from and what we came here to do.
Correct. So it's kind of like finding your soul's purpose, but along finding your soul's purpose along your journey, the way I like to explain it to people is so if I do this, what do you think of? A heartbeat, right?
A what?
A heartbeat goes up
Oh,
and
a
down,
heartbeat.
up and
Okay.
down.
I thought you meant the musical instrument
No,
hop.
so life, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have highs and lows and throughout your whole journey. But if you were just living straight, would you really be living? It's flatline. You need the highs, you need the lows, you need the bad. But then you need to be able to forgive the bad, release the bad. Learn from that. Learn that even, like me losing my parents was heartbreaking, horrible. But in some ways it allowed me to finally truly be who I was.
I got a friend of mine who's accomplished medium and channel and all that good stuff. He can remember just before he was born, and he was talking to one of his spirit guides, who was a spirit. He used to communicate to the spirit guide when he was a grown man, same one that was talking to him just before he was born. And the spirit guide was telling him, okay, you got to remember when you're this age and this comes up, you got to try and do this and you got to try and do that, up all the different peaks, I guess you would call it, in his life, where they were telling him to try and remember to do certain things.
Because that way he can change his direction, because he has free will. Maybe it was mistakes he made in the past, too.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't. See, like, that's one thing about being a medium. I don't know if you run into this as well. People will say to me, tell me when I'm going to die.
I've gotten that question a few times.
Who were in their 90s call me to their house for a private reading. Or I want to know all the good and the bad. I'm not going to tell you if you're going to get into a car accident. I'm not going to tell you if you're going to die. And they say, well, you're not psychic. That's not true. But I'm not God. Or I'm not the higher
free
person.
will comes in.
Because free will. You can choose to say, I'm not sick. You can choose to say, I'm going to have chemo. I might see you crash on Elm Street, but you decided to take a left on Forest.
See, that's a good point that you brought in, though. I forget the right name for it now, though, too, but there's different points in our lives, though, the exit points.
Exit points.
Yes, where we choose at that split second whether or not we're going to stay here or go. Which is part of the free will that's mentioned. So you might decide, oh, it's okay, all right, 880, I might decide to get really sick, though, and pass away. But then if I choose not to, though, I can live till I'm 90 from this.
Correct.
So, it's like I had an exit point at 18.
You personally?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a bad car accident, though, that thankfully, though, I wasn't too hurt, though. So therefore, I must have decided last minute before I was born.
My exit point, my first one was during the birth.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting the different points in our lives, though. So that's where some people don't understand. It's like you have that choice or that free will, whether to stay or go. So a lot of
Yeah,
people find that
I
interesting.
had one also. There was supposed to, when my son passed away 14 years ago, I had to make a decision, and I realized later on that because I made the decision I did, we didn't die in a car crash, but he died because it was his point to go.
Yeah, that was his final point that he decided.
Was that long ago? 14 years?
Yeah, in April.
Doesn't seem it.
No, I know. I've been on this show a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it just it goes by quickly.
It does.
Yeah.
It really sure does.
Sometimes too quickly. For others.
Well, it's staying in touch and communicating with everybody that you want to be in touch with all the time sometimes seems impossible.
Yes.
You mean mediumistically?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about just communicating. Not mystically. Connecting
You mean personal,
one-on-one.
physical friends?
Yeah, loved ones, as well as staying in touch with spirit, walking in two worlds.
I don't try and do that.
I've had, I'm sure you probably did too, though, but I've had a few close loved ones pass on, and it's not the same as being able to touch them, like I'm touching Mary Jo or you, but I talk to them every day, and I know they're listening, though, because they let me know that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same as in the physical, but it's the next best thing, though, being able to connect to the spirit side.
And that's when I work with the grief counselor, when I go to these grief places, I don't want to really mention any names, but I teach them, you can smell them. Mm-hmm. It depends on what, some people can hear them. Like my mom, I smell. Mm-hmm. My dad, I just know is there. I don't know, his presence is so strong. People get heavenly hugs, all of a sudden you'll just feel like a blanket comes over your shoulders and somebody just goes like this very gently. I ask people, I tell people all the time, they're giving you an energetic hug. It's a heavenly hug.
Yeah.
They give us so many signs. It's just being willing to see them, feel them.
And be able to recognize them,
and recognize
too.
them, and
Okay.
that's what I teach people.
Now, we've got a few minutes here.
Uh-oh.
How do we, how do you start people down your path?
By teaching them.
What would you have them do? Somebody says, gee, I like what she's doing. I want to be of help to other people. I want to be intuitive. I want to be a mediumistic. How do we start them off?
How do you start them off?
In your opinion.
In my opinion, it's where do they want to stop? I ask them where do they want to stop. There's so many modalities and routes you can go down. Anybody who wants to open up and speak to spirit and listen to spirit, I think the first thing they need to do is learn to ground themselves, protect themselves. It's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Psychic hygiene.
Yeah.
It's something
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
It's psychic hygiene. Like, I would wash my hands all the time. I won't leave my house without putting myself in like a
bubble.
Archangel Michael will protect me throughout the day. And it's like brushing your teeth. After a while, it comes naturally. That you need to learn the basics, just like anything else. I have clients that come up to me who can talk to spirit, just like that. And I love it. And I tell them, do you know how to ground? Do you know how to protect? Do you know what spiritual hygiene?
Okay, somebody out there is saying, well, how do I protect myself? How do they protect themselves? What do you, short definition?
A whole class. A short definition is, it depends on what they believe in, I believe.
That's true.
If it's what kind of spirituality they believe in, what they believe in holistically. Some people believe in using stones and crystals and rocks. Some people believe in using certain aerosols and sages.
They're going to call Mother Mary in, they're going to call Jesus in, they're going to...
Other people,
Yep.
the holy waters.
The what?
Holy water.
Some people will bless themselves with holy water. Some people will anoint themselves with oil. To me, it depends. I'm going to give them what they need. They have to believe in it with their heart so that you know it's real. You have to believe in something 100%. When you believe in that, that's what I'll go with. You really believe in the crystals? We're going to start with crystals. You really believe in God and Jesus and Mary? We're going to start with your prayers and what prayers you can use in this. It depends on the person. Every client is an individual. No two are the same. Just like if you're in the medical field, no two, I can work with 5 Alzheimer's. None of those 5 are going to be the same.
Yeah.
Same thing with my clients. And it doesn't matter whether you're trying to open up, whether you want a healing, or whether you want a reading.
How would you have them start on the path to become mediumistic?
First, it's about trusting themselves. Trusting what you hear, what you feel. The hardest thing about being a medium for me when I opened up was learning to trust me. I realized I would trust like everybody else, but I didn't trust myself. So the first time I medium for somebody who had lost their mother at 15, who never spoke of her, and I said, do you mind if I try? And they said, go ahead. And I saw Batman, you know the light with a Batman, like what he puts on Gotham City? That's what I saw. And then I saw a wooden bowl of fruit. And I said, my God, they said, they're crazy, I can't medium. And I said, Batman, bats, and fruit. And I looked at this person, and they were crying. This person fed the fruit bats every night with their mother. So
Oh, my
that's
goodness.
how I got it, symbolically. And a lot of things, what they give me is not what they're going to give her. They're going to give you what you understand, what you know how to translate. So they really have to trust.
It had a special meaning to him.
Correct. A lot of what comes out of my mouth and what I say has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the person in front of them.
Yeah.
And not saying if I let this come out, I'm crazy. I let a lot of stuff come out. And when they say they don't understand, if they're not recording it, I write it down. Because I have faith in
It
spirit.
will,
It'll make sense.
sooner or later,
eventually.
that's what it meant.
Yep, and I always get a text or phone call going, oh my goodness. And that makes me very happy when they get that validation.
Similar to the one that you were talking about. This guy came in and he was getting a reading and he wanted some kind of confirmation about his mother. And the medium says, she says, she just said granite is so cold and impersonal or something like that. And the guy went white as a sheet. That day, he had picked out his mother's granite tombstone, and it was like,
He returned it.
Oh yeah, well, I don't think he returned it, but it was just, it had meaning to him at that point in time.
Yes,
Like the
I'm
fruit
sure.
bats. I like that. I think that's a
Yeah.
neat story.
That's unusual, the fruit bats.
Yeah.
It blew my mind, and that's when I realized, okay, this is it.
It's personal
Yeah.
Yeah.
to him.
It's personal to the person.
Yeah.
It's not personal to me.
It's,
But we're going to be closing soon for the show. Thank you for appearing with us.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for co-hosting, Kathy, Ken, and Jay. What I was going to say is, one time we sat in circle in church, and everybody's message was the same, but the images they had
We're different.
were different. But it was, that person really needed that message.
Like, for instance, Roland. When he's given those galleries and he's given those messages, just like when I'm in a gallery or Jess is in a gallery, you can give somebody a message, but part of that message is for somebody else in that room. There's always hidden
Yeah.
messages
Yes.
within a message, and it blows my mind every time.
And sometimes there's messages for you.
Correct. There's nothing that I work with or a client I don't work with that I don't learn something new about myself. Everybody we work with is a reflection of ourselves in one way or another.
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Is the messages that you give, does your messages, is there any of the messages anything for you that you give for others though, or is it like, your pride or egos, like it goes out the door though when you give
That
messages?
goes out the door. If it's a message just from spirit,
Generic.
it's just for them. It's not for me.
Right.
If I'm reading cards and I do 5 cards, like 5 readings in a row, and that one card keeps showing up, that's spirit's way of saying pay attention to that card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always a little hint.
Either that or they all got the same problem.
It's usually all of it.
Yeah. Something, yeah.
Good night. Please come join us again.